Yeah, that's nice.
What's up, guys? It's Rev J again. I've got the Hatred Copter 66C10 behind me. We're over in the garage. And it's another episode of the Rebuild Everything series. Hashtag Rebuild Everything. Seriously, fucking rebuild everything. Houses, cars, your life. Rebuild other people's shit. I don't care. Just start rebuilding stuff. I'm bored of everything the way it is. It needs to be rebuilt. That's kind of the theory here. So, as you guys know, if you've been following this, the bed's all been off because what happened with the accident. We got the new fuel cell in from Summit. If you guys haven't watched the series recently, catch up on all the Rebuild Everything videos. I post sort of micro updates on Instagram and sort of unboxings and little stuff along the way. And I also post sort of these small update videos, which aren't like the full episodes, but they still build the process. So I just put one up a little bit ago about comparing this new fuel cell from Summit to the old fuel cell we took out of the truck. It's sitting over there. Check that out. I go over some of the differences in the size, the design, the way they're set up. And we've got this one sitting in the back. Today, the goal is that I want to plumb this up real quick with my existing hardware and fire the engine over just to make sure that everything still sounds okay up there. We shut the truck off when the accident happened, but it hasn't run since, and naturally it's a little nerve-wracking that something else might be going on. I don't think so. It definitely looks like all the damage sort of stopped at the back half of the frame here, aside from the cab getting hit by the bed. That wasn't actually the impact of the person. That was the person into the bed, into that. The rest of the cab wall appears okay. So the idea is going to be that if I can get this hooked up with most of my existing hardware, it looks like I shouldn't have to redo too much of the plumbing terribly. This is just sort of temporary to get it in here. We'll dump a gallon or two into the tank, and we'll run it just to make sure that the truck fires over. There's no crazy knocks or other problems. As I said in the other ones, I'm still dealing with the insurance adjuster and some other stuff. They cut me the initial check, but we're going through bullshit over the guy not knowing anything about performance vehicles or what the stuff costs. And I think he sold himself kind of short on the numbers and is now finding very rapidly that it's going to be very expensive and he's going to lose his ass on his estimates. So, oh well, that's his problem, not mine. I'm trying to get every fucking dollar out of this thing I can. Because it needs to all go back into it. This thing cost a lot to build, and it's going to cost a lot to repair, and it's going to cost a lot to make better. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it better. So, I've got the fuel system sitting in the back of here. This is the old pump. I tested it on Instagram. It comes out okay. So I need to hook up the return line to the fuel return here. This is the rollover vent. Right now, nothing's going to be hooked to it. I can uncap it just to have it vented for now. I have to remake the end of that connection because it didn't have an AN connection on one side. We'll just buy a fitting for that. It's not a big deal. My return line should hook up to this just fine. My fuel feed, right now it's down there in the bad frame section. I should bring it back up here, but for now we're just going to leave it in there. I need to bend a new hard line for it because that's probably going to get destroyed getting backed out through the frame. Got the old fuel filter here. Still good, thankfully. Not even dirty. I looked on the inside of it there. So got that. Let me grab a fuel feed line here. That's my dash 8 line that comes off the fuel feed like so. And my Pop's Subaru is running in the background. It's kind of noisy. I never liked the way Subarus sound. Aside from the STIs, which is just all turbo noise, they make too much fucking noise for a 4-cylinder for me. Anyway, so this should just get hooked up to the feed line where it used to get hooked up to. That will go to the filter and to here. And then we can put a couple gallons in it through the aircraft cap there, and then fire it over. So let's go ahead and get all the plumbing hooked up for this, get some gas in it, and see where we go. So I got the return line hooked up, and I have the feed off the sump going to the inlet side of the fuel pump here. However, the outlet side of the fuel pump had the broken off fitting, which I completely forgot about until now. And I need to hook the fuel filter in between the outlet side of the pump here and this part of my fuel feed. And to do that, I'm going to need one more -8 to, I believe, 10mm converted fitting. I'm going to see if I have one in the drawer. Hopefully I do, and we can keep going. Otherwise, I'm going to have to order one, and we're going to have to flash forward to when it comes in. Alright guys, flash forward. I'm sorry if the audio sounds different. Again, I didn't grab the mic and I had to grab this camera, but I got the fitting we needed. This is the -8 AN fitting that converts to 10mm, which is what the fuel pump needs. That's a viewable angle. Got the fuel pump that you saw me hook up over here to the back of the output of the fuel cell. Wires are still hanging loose. This is that -8 to M10, which feeds right into here. So there's the fitting on there, and we've got the fuel filter assembly here. This is just that Russell fuel filter with the input and output side couplers on it. That fits right onto here. So just to refresh, those are all connected. The return line is onto there. Fuel cell's just sitting here kind of on the back. There's nothing connected to the vent because I got to get an adapter for that, but it's fine if it just goes out. One of the fuel feeds here, we've got that. We're only going to be putting a small amount of fuel in the tank, and I have to be very careful that I don't leak too much out of here because that definitely is a concern. I don't have a cap for that, and I need to order one. So we've got the output here, goes around. You've got the input side of the fuel pump to the fuel filter, back to the feed line. Now we can hook up the battery and fire this thing over and just double check that there wasn't any damage done to the engine or running systems. I don't think there was, but I'm faintly kind of crossing my fingers and hoping for the best because it hasn't started up since the accident, and needless to say, my heart is kind of in my throat right now because it's the difference between just a lot of cosmetic shit and some small functional stuff and potentially a lot more and a lot more money and shit like that. So let's toss some fuel in this thing and crank it over for the first time since the wreck. Alright guys, we jumped forward again a little bit. We hooked up the return line just into one tank here. I've got the feed just on this one, just in a little 1 gallon of some premium. That way we can double check to make sure everything works. Obviously the fuel pump I tested earlier, we've got that just hot to the battery. We're hooking up the battery. This is the old battery. We're gonna get a new one for it, but right now we're just testing on this one. It's got enough voltage to turn it over. So I'm gonna have Pops hook these wires up. I'm gonna go up to the front. We're gonna go key on, fire it over, and make sure everything still runs good. Let me get up here. We've got voltage to this thing. I'm gonna go, you got it on there? Put it on there, I'm gonna go key on. Alright, I'm key on. Ready? Okay, so just to be sure, we're gonna throw the new fuel pump in because the old one's being kind of a bastard. Okay, try number 2. New fuel pump is in place. We got Pops on the switch here. I'm walking back up to the front. Key is already halfway on here. Let me just go off really quick. Back on. Why is that not connected? Alright, we'll see why that's not going on here in a second. Alright, ready? Sounds like she still runs okay. Let's see what's under the hood. Woo! Well guys, decent. We're gonna let it run for a while and see what's up, okay? Alright, so we did a quick shutdown just because we hit a little bit of a leak in the fuel system because we didn't tighten down any of the things, but we made a full circuit. The new fuel pump works great. The old one, maybe I'll keep around, but that thing just wasn't working 100%. And you know what? Since I got the money for it, we might as well go ahead and do it. She fired over pretty much first crank once that happened, and she sounded good. Just, you know, obviously still a little concerned about everything, but we only ran her for a few minutes. No smoke on startup, even under the initial load there. Caught its idle pretty quick. Everything looked good on my gauges, although I didn't watch them for that long. I still want to get my tuner back up here and hook all the HP tuners into it and stuff like that so we can make sure that there's no crazy knock or anything that I can't see. But for an initial startup, guys, I'm really happy about that. Fired over good. Nothing new leaking out of the bottom here. We do have a little bit of a leak in the power steering pump, which I've already talked to the insurance guys about. They're going to get me a new power steering pump. So I'll either hook that up or I may consider going to a rack and pinion if time and money and space and everything allows. But that's it for now, guys. Got the new fuel cell hooked up. If you haven't watched my fuel cell comparison video between the new one and the old one, definitely check that out. I'll put a link here on the screen somewhere. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my social media. I will also have that on the screen somewhere here. Fuel cell fits in. We just tested it a little bit, but the main thing is we got to hook to the gas cans. The engine fires over, so everything is bueno on that. Now we can start the work on the rear part of the frame, get that fuel cell hooked up for real, get it back and running on the road for real, start doing stupid shit with it again. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.